instant launch missile engine ahead of Trump visit amid World War III tensions. North Korea has tested a new missile engine ahead of Donald Trump's visit to the region amid fears another launch is imminent. It comes as North Korea has been ramping up its missile technology with regular rocket tests, including 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles launches and its 6th nuclear bomb detonation earlier this year. North Korea has also threatened to totally destroy the U.S. and warned Donald Trump should think twice about what terrible consequences the U.S. will face. The U.S. president is set to visit the region next month, where he will reportedly inspect American forces at one of the largest bases on the Korean peninsula. And now a U.S. government source has revealed the despotic state secretly tested a new type of solid-fuel engine last week. According to the source, the test took place at North Korea's solid-fuel engine testing site in Hamhung. Solid-fueled missiles would give North Korea an advantage as they are ready to fire at a moment's notice. North Korea's arsenal up until now was understood to have relied mainly on liquid-fueled missiles, which are simpler and cheaper to make but are slower to launch as they can only be loaded at the time of fire. Earlier this year, North Korea unveiled its Not-15 rocket, which is a land-based version of its deadly submarine-launched ballistic missile. The missile, called the Pukguksong-2 or Polaris-2, is powered by solid fuel, which would make it almost undetectable by U.S. satellites in the event of war. Melissa Hannum, a senior researcher at the James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies, told The Washington Post, "Solid fuel is very significant because they can launch these missiles much faster and with a smaller entourage than with liquid-fueled missiles, making them much harder for the United States, South Korea and Japan to spot from satellites." The missile engine test comes as a senior CIA analyst warned that Donald Trump's visit to China, Japan and South Korea in November could spark another provocation from Kim Jong-un. Japan's defense minister has also warned North Korea's threat has grown to a critical and imminent level. At the time, the official added it had not been decided if Trump would visit heavily fortified demilitarized zone, DMZ, which separates the North and South. Since the 1980s, every U.S. president except for George H.W. Bush has visited the DMZ, which is patrolled by thousands of North Korean troops. Another White House official said the final details of the South Korean leg of the trip are still being ironed out. Vice President Mike Pence visited the DMZ earlier this year.
More U.S. naval firepower coming to the Korean region, joining the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier now in port in South Korea, the USS Theodore Roosevelt carrier strike group. That includes a guided missile cruiser as well as destroyers. It's the first time that 2 carriers have been off of Korea since June. It comes at, of course, at a heightened time of tension between North Korea and the regional allies. According to the military brass today, meeting on the Ronald Reagan, these exercises are a strong warning to North Korea. And yes, that missile threat from North Korea being addressed in an aggressive fashion in exercises today off of Korea. Ships from the United States, South Korea, and Japan practicing spotting North Korean missiles as they come off of the North Korean coastline, just in case of further provocations, Bill.
Greg, you know, what more is Secretary Mattis saying on his trip around that region that is so important?
This is an important It's a very important, Bill, warm-up trip for the President Trump Asia tour next month. He is now meeting with his defense colleagues in the Philippines. Some strong words actually coming from the new defense minister of South Korea. He says, and I'm quoting here, that the reckless provocations of North Korea must halt. It is leading that country into isolation and collapse. Again, Secretary Mattis goes on to Thailand and South Korea, and coming up next month, the 5-country Asia tour by President Trump. North Korea absolutely at the top of the agenda on most of the talks that he will be involved with.
The defense chiefs of Seoul, Washington, and Tokyo agreed to coordinate efforts to resolve North Korea issues using not only pressure but diplomacy. They also vowed to maintain a high state of readiness against any further provocations from Pyongyang through continued combined exercises.
North Korea is continuing to verbally lash out against the United States, suggesting this time that it's the victim in the crisis. The Director General of the North American Department of the North's Foreign Ministry argues that the U.S. is the only one stopping Pyongyang from developing nuclear arms, and the regime has no interest in starting a nuclear war. Addressing a non-proliferation conference in Moscow on Monday, Choi Sun-hee is reported to have reiterated that while her country pursues peace, it's ready to deal with Washington's actions if necessary. The North Korean diplomat has previously delivered strong remarks, saying the regime will respond to fire with fire and that North Korea's nuclear deterrence is a matter of life and death for the regime.